Hello. Does anybody remember how to do anything? I do not. I have forgotten everything. My text adventure didn't even work initially. I'm sorry, Silver. But at least I got it fixed eventually. I guess I won't bother to save our progress because we didn't actually go anywhere. Our score is 0. We have the rank of beginner. We'll do better next time. 6-7. Thank you so much. I couldn't even remember where the sub button was. Oh no. Also, Silver, thank you very much as well. Silver said, well, I would normally kick open the door. You just got back from break, so this is me politely knocking instead. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you both very much. Also, hello, French Toast, please. Silver Streak, Culinary Disaster, thank you for the welcome back. Slat Studio, 6-7. Hope y'all are doing great. So I spent some time recently setting up this little text adventure that chat can play during my breaks. And eventually I would like to write a specific custom game to play, but I figured we'd start out trying my setup with some Zork. Thank you, thank you. Maple Mystery, hello, great to see you. I'm gonna do some shout outs here. Silver Streak was playing a very cool game last night called Viewfinder. It was very enjoyable. And also a kind of terrifying to imagine having to QA test it, honestly. You can take pictures of things and then like turn those pictures back into a 3D space and like place them anywhere. It's wild. There's also lots of other weird things going on. We can at long last speedrun Zork via the medium of Twitch chat. Yes. So is that I have no idea how you possibly test that. Yeah, like I guess you just do as many weird things as you can think of for as long as you can. Okay, so what are we doing? We're world building. Also, I have a new, we got a new mic arm thing. It's a little bit different. Before we had the low profile Elgato mic arm. Now we have the, I guess, high profile one, which will hopefully get in the way less when I'm like writing and stuff. Puzzle, hello, welcome, welcome. So, oh, right. First thing we should do is talk about, I did do a little bit of work on the game during break. A thing I talked about before is that Xenolon did some testing on a 128K Mac, the very first Macintosh, and we learned that things load a little bit differently on a real old Macintosh. So as the screens are loading and as objects are being added to the screen, you like watch each object, each vector object draw one by one. So you can see all the stuff underneath that you don't see on a slightly more recent computer, like the Mac Plus we've been working on. That mostly isn't a major issue, but there are a couple areas in particular where it was a problem. For example, the study, where we have the ability to turn the light on and off. I had done the dark version of that scene by layering an object on top of the screen, but it'll work a little better if we just have two separate rooms. And actually that ended up like simplifying some other things as well. There are a couple of things that got slightly more complicated, but not really it's not really a problem. And then the other thing is we won't be able to do animation on a 128K Mac. But I think we'll do, like, we only have one spot where we have animation so far. We're probably not going to have much more. So I'll probably just kind of comment out that code and do a special build for like real old Macs. We could just not support those Macs, but it would be nice too if we can do it without too much effort. So I figured we'll take that approach. Let me get another shout out in here. Let's see. French Toast, please. An excellent streamer. Has been playing The Case of the Golden Idol. I have not been watching because I think I want to stream that myself at some point. It looks very cool. I initially wasn't sure if it was my thing, just mostly based on the art style. I judge things on their appearances more than I should, I think. And sometimes I realize, actually, I was very wrong. Like, sometimes it works out okay. I feel like if I'm not into the visuals of a game, it's hard for me to get into it. But, like, with The Case of the Golden Idol, like, the visuals are actually really nice. I think they actually work a lot better in motion. There's a lot of really nice animation that... obviously didn't come across in screenshots. Let's see, what else did I work on? It's not useful at all, but you can now reinsert the light bulb in the study if you want to for some reason. Basically, that became easier because I split things up. I added a bunch of missing responses for various things, like trying to plant various objects in the pot. And I also improved a bunch of text in that room as well. You can look at the batteries now. Very exciting. Okay. I figured out an interesting trick, which I think we'll go ahead and get into World Builder so I can share this. It's a thing that's, not at all useful outside the context of World Builder, but I was very excited to have realized this solution to a problem I've run into a lot of times. Let's see. So this is on the Little Sweetie Open. Culinary Disaster has been playing Vagrant Story. A very neat game. How's that been coming along, Culinary? I missed a lot of your streams while I was away. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that I'm back. I've returned from the West. There were a lot of elk, surprising number of dinosaurs, many cows and horses. Also a lot of unusual rocks. And it was good. I'd recommend it. If you have a place west of you, maybe go there and check it out. It might be cool. Thumbs up. Sven, hello. Great to see you. I did have a good time. Thank you. Some really weird rocks. The rocks I remember the most, I guess this wasn't technically a rock, but like there are rocks filled with like weird water. Like I gotta learn more about this thing. It was called Artists Painted Pots, which is a name I don't fully understand. But like it was like filled with this water that was, it almost looked like liquid rock. Like I guess it's just like muddy or something. It's probably more complicated than just muddy. It would, it definitely looked different than just muddy water. But that's kind of the best way I can think of to, like, the best comparison I can make. But it, it's constantly bubbling from like, gases coming up from the ground and stuff. It's very, very neat. Have you at any point said specifically where we were besides West? We were at Yellowstone specifically. Okay, so this little trick I discovered. This bit of code right here. Previously, let's just go ahead and delete this for comparison. So a thing I've been doing pretty often with text parsing is I split it up into two lines. And on one line, I check for a verb. In this case, take, get, remove. And then on the next line, I check for a noun. With battery, I couldn't think of any synonyms, so this wasn't super necessary here, but in a lot of other cases, it's fairly important. And then splitting it up like this also gives us some flexibility in that if you type insert new battery, take old battery, or, you know, remove used battery, then that will work, as opposed to having to check for each like complete phrase. But then the tricky part is that we also support clicking on the battery, right? And because it's split up in 2 lines like this, if you click the battery, then this line will pass the check because you clicked on it, but then this line won't. And kind of the only way to solve this is by copying this entire block and having a separate check for clicking on it. At least that was what I previously thought. But then I was thinking, you know, maybe we could check for, you know, if text equals blank on this line, which might work. I'm not sure if I ever actually tested that. But then I realized I could just check for the same thing on the second line. So it, you know, if you're clicking, there's this extra useless check, but it makes this work, and then I don't have to duplicate this entire block inside of here. And that's a thing I had run into so many different times, and basically every time I previously run into it, I either like made this very long list of different possible phrases, or I would just duplicate the whole block or something, but this worked out so much better. Hello, Keeney Games, welcome. Good to see you. Let's see, more shout outs. We got Culinary. I think we're up to Maple Mystery now. A fantastic game developer and streamer. Let's see, you've been playing Loom, right? Another game. I honestly can't remember for sure if I played all of Loom before. I've definitely played some of it on a Mac many, many years ago. I thought for sure I had a copy of it, but I was not able to find a box anywhere. So I kind of wonder if I had a good friend that his dad was a Mac programmer, so he also grew up with Macs and occasionally played some games over at his house. So I might have played Loom over there, but that's another game that I would like to stream at some point. And I would also very much like to stream the EGA version. So I've been avoiding your playthrough of that, but I hope you've been enjoying it. Samuel Stokes, great to see you. Welcome. Let's see. So, oh yeah, we also, we now have some custom responses. We're not going to save that because we're just demonstrating things. This isn't anything too fancy, but I added a couple commands. Custom status message. Before, the game would print out this very like RPG response telling you your physical hit points and your spiritual hit points and all this other stuff that wasn't really appropriate for our game. So for now we have this. Maybe we'll customize that more at some point. And then let's see if we rest. Time passes. I figured that was fine for now. And the game by default responds to rest by like you get a slight increase in your spiritual and physical hit points, which again, not really appropriate for ours. We also have a help command now. I had started adding this screen a while ago, but I never got around to adding the command to come here. I figure, especially because our world builder game is a little bit different than a standard one, like we're doing some things that are a little bit unusual. And also, most people playing this will probably have never played any world builder game before. So I guess I'll go ahead and read this. World builder games are played by clicking on objects in the scene, choosing commands from the menus, or typing short commands in the text window. If you get stuck, a good place to start is by trying the options in the command menu. In some cases, you must type a command to progress. Keep your commands short and skip articles like the. Usually 1 or 2 words is enough. Press the return key after your command. Often the game text will give a hint about what you can do. Some of the items you pick up can be used or examined more closely. Try typing a verb like use, look, or read, followed by the item name. If you're in a close-up, enter close or back to return to the game. If you happen to find someone to talk to, type talk to start or continue a conversation. If you're asked a question, simple 1 or 2 word answers work best. There's at least one puzzle in the game that's kind of mean. I'm very sorry about this. At any time during the game, you can type help, then press return to view this help screen. That is in there specifically because eventually we'll have like a title screen in the game, and that'll have a button to get to this help menu. But I wanted to point out that you can come back here at any time if you need to. So hopefully that'll help, and I'm sure I'll do some more polishing of that over time. You feel 30 out of 50 units of alive. Perfect. Let's see. Shoutouts. I feel like we need more shoutouts. Shoot, I don't have a custom shoutout for Keeney Games, but y'all should check out Signal and Echo Iris is Missing. I played the demo of it on stream a while back, and it was great, and I'm very excited for it to come out. There's a link. You should also wishlist it, along with the Crimson Death. Slat Studio, also a talented game developer. Just watch your playthrough of Signal and Echo on replay this past week. Nice. Glad you enjoyed it. Okay, what else? Oh, right. So during our last, I think it was the last stream, one of the recent streams, we were talking about Dana Scully's famous catchphrases, which, you know, she doesn't really have one like, you know, there's no trust no one equivalent for Scully. But Adrift on a Sea suggested lots of very good Scully lines, and I figured we should put some into the game if you try to talk to our Skull, Agent Scully. So I added a bunch of those. There is one little concern with this, however. So you can pick up the Skull and talk to Skull. You just get one of the lines. Please explain to me the scientific nature of the whammy, the Skull inquires. So the concern with this is that because you can carry the Skull around with you, you need to be able to talk to it anywhere, which means all this had to go in the global code. And as we've discussed, it's been a while, but at one point we ran into some issues with running out of space for code in one of the scenes. And at some point that could happen in the global code as well. Because of the weird, like, character counting, I guess? Byte counting? I don't know what's going on exactly. We don't really know what the limit is, or have an easy way to check how close to the limit we are. But we might have to delete some Scully lines at some point if we run out of space. Oops. Oh, we got the same one? I wish there was a way to avoid that. You know, sometimes you just get the same random number twice. Baby me and you'll be peeing through a catheter, the Skull threatens. You can always just ship a paper book and replace the dialogue with see paragraph 149. There you go. Perfect solution. We'll just include it in the manual. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I worked on that I wanted to go over. Look at batteries. Very exciting code I added. You have 2 AA batteries. One is a used battery you removed from the little sweetie. There's an Enercell logo on it. It doesn't seem to have any juice left. The other is a fresh battery you picked up from an electrolyptus plant. It has a leaf logo on it. I actually spent an unnecessary amount of time on these because I wanted this to work without having to specify which battery. So there's like code to check, which batteries you're actually carrying and giving the appropriate response for that. So now it just says we have one. Spinning Mind, hello. Could Scully lines be location specific, even if not location relevant, to spread out the load? That is a very good idea. Yes, that is definitely something we could do. Like we could have one or more lines in the global code as like a fallback in case we, have a room that doesn't have specific lines. And then we could have, one or two lines in each other room. It's an interesting idea. Yes, this is once again the Mzizzy playlist. Honestly, this is one of the reasons I didn't used to play music, because now music is a thing I feel like I need to worry about, and I haven't had time to gather other music yet. So we continue to listen to these, but they're still very good and enjoyable. I've been meaning to collect other music to get more variety. We can't really add music to the game. You can do periodic sound effects, which you could potentially have like a little music clip that plays repeatedly, but it would have to be very, very short. And it would not sound great. I don't think there's any way to make that sound good. Maybe in the Playdate version, though. Really wish the source code was available to give you that search and replace. Yeah, that would be great, huh? Oh, well. That is an interesting... I'm pretty sure the source code is not available. The program itself was made freeware in 1995, I believe. But I don't think the source code was ever released. At least not that I've heard of. There is source code for some other early Mac programs, like Mac Paint. I saw someone mention the other day, which is interesting. All right. I don't actually know what we're doing today. I spent so much time working on my little text adventure thing, I didn't actually have time to decide what we're going to do. But I have updated my to-do list at least. One thing that I still have to do, we talked about this list previously, and like I came up with these names that are all like Greek underworld related. And then I decided I wasn't sure I wanted to do that. It's honestly, it's a little tricky. So there's eventually we'll have some dialogue with Brisket, the cat you find in the study. And I've written, I think, almost all of that dialogue now. And my plan for that is that Brisket is going to ask you questions at a couple points. First, your name, which the main way to find that out is by finding the little sweetie and booting that up and finding those messages, which mention your name. And basically, in order to like continue the conversation with Brisket, you need to say what your name is. Introduce yourself. Brisket is a very proper cat and won't have a conversation with you without a proper introduction. And then later in the conversation, Brisket asks if you know why you're here. And at that point, you need to have figured out that you are... Like, I figure we'll allow a decent variety of correct responses. Like, you can say, I'm in purgatory, I'm dead, I've died, etc. But you need to understand that. And originally I was thinking that you would find that out by replacing the battery in the little sweetie and reading the final email. And that final email does make this situation super, super clear. However, I then realized that in order to grow the battery, you actually have to complete the conversation with Brisket. So that's something we could change, but I'm not sure if I want to, because I feel like there's plenty of opportunities for other hints about your situation. Like, you're in an unusual place. It's very apparent from the start that this is not like just the normal world. This is the kind of thing where I feel like it would be great to get some additional playtesting to figure out if things are obvious enough. Maybe you don't need to know the answer right away. But you have to, the way I plan on setting things up is that you can leave the conversation and come back for sure. But you have to complete the conversation, and then Brisket will leave, and then that's when you can get the light bulb from the lamp. Because Brisket won't let you take the light bulb out of the lamp if they're still there. But like the first 3 emails, I feel like do a pretty decent job of suggesting that something has happened to you. What other clues are there currently? Like I said, those first 3 emails. I've been trying to, like, while I've been talking this, I've been trying to think if there's other things. Like, these interesting place names are currently a hint, but as I started out saying, like, I don't think I like these. I think I want more normal place names. Just because this is, your starting screen, and I don't want to be too obvious immediately. Maybe the emails is really all we have. I'm just going to kind of wander around a little to try to remind myself of what else there might be. I feel like everything else is not really, like, everything else suggests there's something weird happening, but not really that you're dead necessarily. Like, we have a couple places where you have this dark void. But yeah, that might be all we have. So I do feel like we should probably figure out something, a little bit more of a hint. But I am inclined to change those place names still. I guess this is something I just need to maybe think about a little more. What else do we have to work on? One thing I need to do before I forget. Because of the changes I made to the study, there's a variable we're not using anymore. S2. Where... I also, while I was away, at one point I needed to consult my variables, and I did not have this book with me, so that was fun. I had to basically look through the code and try to remember what each variable actually meant. I think I was able to get it correct. Like, S1 is whether the lampshade is on or off. I got that right. S2 is whether the study light is on or off, which we're no longer using because that's just based on which room you're in. And then S3 is whether the bulb has been taken or not. And then another thing I need to update in my notes is we have room 11 now, which is study dark. That briefly concerned me when I realized we needed to keep track of those separately, but I think it's fine. I don't think anything like the only situation where this could produce an unexpected result, I think, is if there was some way the light would turn on or off apart from your own interaction with it, but I don't think that's a concern. This code is just, we keep track of what room you were last in, so if you go to a close-up like the little sweetie, we need to, when you close that, take you back to where you were. Okay, so that's notes updated. Oh, another thing I thought of. So this in the help I mentioned a puzzle that's very mean. You start out with this rapier sharp wit in your weapons menu. And basically you need to drop it at some point. And it occurred to me that like it's already kind of a mean puzzle because it's weird. It's not really a logical solution, but I'm very attached to it. But I think the thing we need to have in the game is a different reason to drop an item at some point. Just to introduce you to the idea of dropping things you are carrying. Because if we don't do that, then expecting you to figure out that you need to drop some other item is a lot to ask. So there's basically a couple ways we can do this. We can just set a limit on the inventory, which I think is probably what I'll do. And I think what I would do is just set a limit that's just like one less than, you know, what you would need at that point in the game. So like we have 1, 2, let's see. At what point in the game do you need to figure this out? I'm just trying to think of how many of these items you would have at that point. You would have most of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe our inventory limit is like 7. That way, you know, you run out of space and you need to drop something. So then that gives you an opportunity to figure that out before you encounter a puzzle that expects you to consider that. You pick up something dangerously hot, and if you don't drop it next action, you perish. That is fun. I'm thinking. I'm writing this down. This something dangerously hot would also give us an opportunity to add a burnable rug, which I would love to add. But I feel like this is tricky because if we're introducing dropping items this way, it would have to be something that you know, something mandatory to pick up. And then you also need to immediately drop it. And adding a mandatory pickup is like, you might be a little late in the process to figure out where to put that. Like the Space Quest 4 Unstable Ordnance. I vaguely remember that. So for now, let's go ahead and figure out how we add this inventory limit. I know it's there, I haven't had the need to do it in many years. Both dropping a non-physical thing and the hot object lethal lesson both seem like they could be in many a classic text adventure. Yes. the dropping the rapier sharp wit very much reminds me of a tea-related puzzle in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't think it's nearly as good, but... So... World data? No. Is it part of the character data? Aha. Number of objects character may own. Max 255. So this is currently set to 32. So we'll try 7. Oh. I guess we can also... I don't think this text is ever going to come up anywhere. I believe it shows in the default status message. But since we overrode that command, I don't think it will ever show up anywhere. But we have a name, so we might as well use it now. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this. I'm just going to kind of play through the game normally but quickly. And see if we hit that limit. Oh, we are going to get rid of the suit bone. I forgot about that. So we might need to make it lower. No, thank you. Oh no. Okay. Oh, okay. Great face. Inventory. So we now have 1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it? Okay. I thought I picked up more. Up. Skull, book. So now we have 6. And then we'll get out the potato. That's 7. I guess there's a possibility you wouldn't have done that necessarily. And now we're nearing the point where you need to have hit that limit. So yeah, I think 6 is going to be a better. We could maybe drop it to 5 if we want to be really certain that people are going to run into that situation. I don't want to make it too low though, because like I don't want people to have to inventory manage. Like, I'm fine with doing this to introduce the concept of dropping items as a thing you might need to do. But like, for example, you know, we don't need the normal key anymore. There's various other items that you use and then you're done with. So hopefully the player will be like, I'm finished with this item, so I can just drop it, and then they won't have to juggle things. So let's make it 6, and hopefully that'll work out well. You unlock the door and it gobbles up the key, nearly taking your hand with it. We don't want to get rid of items automatically though, because then they won't need to drop them. Okay. This is a thing I've thought about periodically. The skull is named in game. The item is named Agent Scully, which is a little weird. because you just pick up this skull and then you look at your inventory and you have a thing that's labeled Agent Scully, which is fine. But then I was thinking maybe it's actually funnier if it's just a skull, but you can talk to it, and it has all these lines, and like it's up to you to figure out that these are Dana Scully lines and that the skull is named Scully. Mostly I haven't done that yet because it'll be kind of annoying to update a bunch of references to these items. It won't be too bad, but... oh yeah, back to the bus stop names. If anyone has any normal place names that they want to suggest for bus stop names, feel free to share them. Hinton, what is New Gamers? We just have old stuff here, but thank you so much for your resub. 9 whole months, oh my gosh. I appreciate all your support, and I hope you're doing well. But yeah, bus stop names. Like I want to come up with some like normal, super normal sounding, but I don't know how to describe what I consider an interesting place name. But Locust Hill, yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm going for. Thank you. But yeah, feel free to drop any ideas in the chat. And speaking of Hinton had the great idea of just to make things a little weird, like the names on the bus schedule are all, relatively normal, but they change each time you look at them. And I think I'm gonna actually do that. That's kind of currently on my, maybe I'll do this if it doesn't seem like too much of a hassle, but I think it's just the right amount of hassle. Let's see. Another suggestion someone gave was to have some place names that are like Easter eggs from other adventure games, which I do like. However, I'm a little worried there's too many jokey references to other games. So I don't know that I want to have any... most of our references to other games are like, specific commands you need to type. So like, they're not... A lot of them are, missable. So that makes me feel better about the large volume of them. But if we have some jokes that are like right on the bus schedule, that might be a little bit too prominent. Come to you from a bus stop in Purgatory, aka the last day of dog sitting. Oh no. I'm sorry your dog sitting days are over. I hope you will have other dog sitting days in the future. Too many jokey references in an adventure game? Impossible. Maybe you're right. I'm probably worrying about it too much. Let's see. Oh. Okay. Now I'm getting into my my normal to-do list here. So the first thing on the list is I used a variable. Because I didn't have my list of variables, I had to kind of guess about what variables were already in use. And I basically reused a variable for talking to Scully, which I think is fine, actually. But I would rather not do that just in case it somehow results in something weird happening. I think actually, since we're no longer using S2, we'll just use that. So basically, the reason we need a variable is... Okay, so we have... I used B1 just because I had another similar chunk of code. Oh, right, I was reading the bookshelf. You can look at the books on the bookshelf and get a random response there. So the way we need to write the code for that, we set a variable to a random number, divide that by 10 to get... This basically gives us a random number that's 1 through 10. And then we check what that variable is set to and then output the appropriate response. So it's probably fine to, use the same variable in this scenario. But, for example, like maybe something weird could potentially happen if you like talk to Scully in the room where the bookshelf is. I don't think that's very likely, but I'd rather play it safe and use a specific variable for each scenario. Eric the Unready. What a game. Okay. I think I got them all there. S2. Okay, that looks good. Cross that off. Next thing on my to-do list is adding the brisket conversation. I don't think I want to get into that right now. That's going to be a big job. I think I'll probably save that for a Friday stream. Maybe we'll add the title screen. That's something that's a little more interesting than all this poking around we've been doing. We don't have a title yet, but we can still add the screen for it. And kind of set things up. I want to have some buttons on that screen. Credits button, help button, and I was thinking we should probably add content warnings, just because we do have some discussion of death, and I think it's always a good idea to give people a heads up on stuff like that if they want it. So yeah, let's go ahead and I long ago created a room that is not currently being used. But we can start to fill in that stuff once our global code is finally done saving. Okay, so right up here in the corner, we have start, and it's blank. So my plan for this screen has been, hello, Ellie and Nacho, welcome. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So we have our bus stop, which has been kind of our starting screen. There it is. And my plan is that unless we have a more interesting way to do this or a different way to do this, I think what I'm going to do is we'll have the same art on the start screen because I want to start here, right? But then we'll have the title over top of that. And then, we'll have our buttons below that. And then when you actually start playing, basically just the title and the buttons will disappear and you're already right there. So I'm trying to think of what we would put in the text for this screen. Like, I guess we want kind of a little introduction, like almost every World Builder game I played, I feel like has a little bit of a kind of a welcome message, I guess. I think mostly because, they want to give you some like how to play kind of tips and stuff like that. Hinton says, I just incepted myself thinking too hard about making UI for an engine that is made of UI. That's very exciting. I hope you're okay. Hello, Blah Holtzen. Welcome. 67 said, I'm going to have to take this on the road. My fire alarm is beeping and I'm out of 9 volts. Oh, no. I hope you are able to get some 9 volts quickly, and I hope it's just a battery situation. For a second, I was worried your smoke alarm was going off because of smoke reasons, but I guess it's just a battery. Temp text, remember to remove later. Perfect. And then I won't. I'm sure I will. All right, let's make some buttons. A very exciting thing to do. For me, anyway. So before I actually make buttons, let's kind of refresh my memory on what buttons we have already. Because I remember thinking at some point that I might want to change... Oh, right. So we have the little sweetie, which has some on-screen buttons that have a particular style, like this... black rounded rectangle with white text inside. And I was wondering if we might want to use that style for in-game buttons as well. Currently, I have this style here. And now I'm just kind of thinking about it. I guess the black button is maybe a problem because it's going to be on a dark screen. I guess they're going to be at the bottom, so maybe that's okay. Tricky. I guess we'll go with the style I have in the credits for now, and we'll see how that looks. We can always change it. Okay, I clicked more times than I meant to, apparently. Let's see. Nope. Name. Buttons? Back button. Perfect. Okay, so on the title screen... we're going to have start, which should maybe be emphasized in some way. Should it be bigger? I'm a little concerned there's going to end up being too many buttons on the screen and it's just going to look messy. But we have start, credits, help, content warnings. Those are all the things we want to be able to access from the start screen. They don't necessarily all have to have buttons. We could put some in the commands menu. We put all of them in the commands menu. Too many buttons on the screen is quitter talk. All right. I mean, we'll try it. We'll see how it looks at least. I'm a little concerned the more I think about it. Start. So I think we're going to use 9-point Geneva for all this. Credits. Help. Content warnings. I wish I could think of a clear but shorter way to say that, but I cannot. I don't want to do something that's not clear. Just fixing the bad kerning here. Feeling good about excessive unaligned buttons. this. Just trying to get the same spacing here. Oh, now I've done it. Well, I can do this. I have to move it in pieces. Needs more back? Blaholson said, I'm trying to figure out what an operating system would look like in the universe of my game, and this seems like the kind of vibes I should channel. Nice. It's very exciting. Also, I would love to hear more about your game, especially if these are the vibes you're going for. Okay, so I think that's too much space on that side. Okay, we need 2 pixels smaller. Hinton says, my headphone cable is really getting in the way, but I can't switch to speakers until DJ Roomba finishes his set. Oh no, I goofed up the pattern here. I was not paying attention to that. Shoot. Okay. Actually, I think... Let's do this. Let's goof it up more. And then we'll fix it. Great. Why does that... I know I intentionally made that off-center, but it looks more off-center than it should be. It's not. Okay. Alright, I'll worry about it later, if it still bothers me. Little point and click thing called Mac McSmack. It's got a sort of cartoon Y2K type look, but the pixel art is quite low res and I'm only working with 9 colors. Nice! Gameplay mostly involves kissing and slapping. Fantastic. I should make this bigger before I put the text in. I knew that was going to happen. Perfect. That's our start button. The computer I'm making the OS for is a coin-operated library computer with a bad internet connection. I love this. Let's see, I need to figure out how much wider this needs to be. Another thing I'm realizing is I already made the start button identical to the other ones. Do I maybe want... Well, I guess we can't go smaller text unless I draw the text myself, which is an option. So we're already at the smallest size. So I could, if I want the start button to be more prominent, I could make that one bigger, or I could custom draw all the text for the other buttons. I don't really want to do that, but I can. I guess we'll start with this for now, and we'll see what it looks like. I feel like we just need to get something in there. To help me figure out if this is going to work at all. This is the kind of thing where, like, I have no good way to measure this. I guess I can do this. So it's 1, 2, needs to be 3 pixels bigger. Okay. It says, maybe I will laboriously do everything by hand instead. Robot Spacer. That's me. It's very much me. But also, like, I mean, that's kind of... That's just how things were back then, you know? Except I still do this. Let's see, I need to fix this. Let's do that. I spent a whole day of a game jam making a custom font once. It's very relatable. I've never done a game jam, but just like in general, I can relate to that kind of experience. I guess I'll start with the start button for this one since it's closer to the right size. Helped. Perfect. One more pixel. Oh, which is good because I goofed up the pattern at the bottom again. There we go. Hinton says, the only graphics I ever do are stats, data, plots, and I love spending days moving pixels, not by hand, but in code back and forth without end. Yeah, moving pixels by code is also a relatable experience for me. I have absolutely spent hours like going back and forth, like making a thing 1 pixel bigger or smaller over and over for just until the end of time. And it's definitely a little bit worse in code because, like, you know, you update the code and then you got to build and run it and then see how it looks. Okay, did not make that big enough. Can I just say, like, every time I do this weird text thing, it just reminds me of like machine learning images that try to do text. It's got that same vibe to it. Okay, that's pretty close. I think we want another pixel wider maybe. So this is a time where I need to measure this, I think. 8 pixels. That's 7. Okay. So I'll goof up the pattern if I make it 1 pixel wider. So maybe I'll just leave that. I could move this a pixel closer. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, Maple Mystery, good night. I hope you enjoy your dinner. Thanks for stopping by. It's great to see you. Plow Olson says, I'm going to miss this dyslexic AIs once they're gone, which I'm sure is soon. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I don't know enough about how machine learning works to, like, understand that problem, but I would imagine it's just a matter of, you know, someone spending the time to, you know, make the image generation AIs understand text better. I don't know. All right, we got some buttons. Another thing I'm concerned about is like we got this little shadow effect, which isn't necessarily going to look good when it's on top of something that's not white. But I figured I'd try it and we'll see how it looks. Maybe we'll get rid of it. So let's see. We need to copy these one by one and drop them in the clipboard. Clipboard, scrapbook, that's what I meant. Different things entirely. Okay. And let's see, I was going to delete this. Culinary says, I typed dyslectic dictionary into Google and it only gave me results for dyslexia. Okay, so there's our buttons. Okay, so initially I think what we want to do is paste our images directly in here so we can see what it looks like without having to run the game. Oh geez, it's going to do that. It is going to be way too big. This is going to take up too much space. Sorry about the beep. I'm a little tempted to not have the content warnings button. Like, we can still have that info. I don't know. I'm torn. Perfect. I'm worried about this. I'm increasingly worried about this screen. Like, we already have the title needs to go over this, which I feel like I can make that work without getting too busy looking. But these buttons. Let's see what happens if we get rid of this. Trying to think of how I even lay this stuff out. No, we don't have a title for the game. I just figured we would go ahead and start working on this screen. I don't expect to finish it today or anything, but it would be nice to have, you know, the basics of it in place. Untitled Dead Person game. There you go. Perfect. You're looking at my life right now. This is my whole life, is moving around buttons, trying to figure out what looks nice. I wish I could hold shift to constrain the movement, but that's not a thing. That's not a thing in here. So if I want to move this straight across, I just have to do it slowly and carefully. The layout I'm trying to look at here is like, what if start is separated from the other buttons? I feel like this is too separated, maybe. Probably what we want I don't. My thought was, maybe the title is here and then the start button is directly below the title, but with the bus stop here, I don't know that I like that. I don't know. Maybe this shouldn't have the bus stop on the title screen. Maybe it's too much. I missed a bunch of comments. Hinton said this sax solo should be the title of the game. That would be very funny. Blaholson said having a piece of music be the title of a thing is a very fun idea. That might make it hard to for the press to write about. Not that I expect this game to get any press. Hold a ruler up to the screen. Yes, certainly a valid option. I think we could also do... Oh, no. I was going to say, like, sometimes you can, just kind of draw a, like, selection box. But since there's items to drag everywhere, that's not really an option. But we could certainly create a rectangle to use for alignment purposes. There we go. That's the kind of thing I was getting at. Oh, credits is off. It's a good thing I did that. How did that happen? Oh. Maybe this wasn't actually a good thing to work on right now. Because, like, I feel like now that we're actually, trying to do something here, I'm realizing that we need the title to figure out what this screen looks like. Because the length of the title in particular could make a big, big difference here. In what kind of layout works good. What is the tone of everything? That's a really great question. I have concerns about the tone of this game. I've chosen to do my best to not worry about it. I mean, we started out... Chat chose the bus stop in Purgatory as our starting screen. So that gave us this kind of theme of, like, death, right? But also, like, kind of a not super serious approach with the bus stop at all. And there's a lot of humor, but there's also some fairly serious discussion of death. And, like, I guess relationships and regret. And it's really hard for me to judge if it all works together or not. I hope that it does. End of the line. That's probably the best suggestion anyone has given so far that's, like, on theme. And it's also, like, that's the kind of thing I have been thinking along the lines of. I'm trying to find my list of title suggestions people have given. Where is it? Oh, okay. Ooh. Happy sad. Sure. I wouldn't say happy is maybe not right. Jokey sad? I don't know. Hinton had the suggestion, service suspended or suspended service. Expected delays of cancellations. Or cancellations, excuse me. Six Seven says, what does Robot Spacer's game make you feel? Regret. As a theme, or... Just catching up on chat here. Spinning Mind said, back in CRT days, I used to draw alignment marks on my monitor with fine point dry erase markers. Nice. Dusk Stop. I'm writing these all down, by the way. Bus Stop Nights After Dark Edition. Okay. So maybe we abandon this for now. Actually, I could use a break, so I'm going to do that. And if you want, y'all should take a break if you need one, but if you don't need one, or, you know, get back from your break before I do, you can play a little text adventure. You can play some Zork. Actually, I need to load it back up here. Let me do that. Okay, and we'll be starting over since we didn't actually make any progress last time. This game is called A Scene Abandoned for Now. Perfect. Keeny Game says, can this be played on any old PC? Is it done enough for testing? I'd be happy to record a playthrough with commentary for your eyes only if that would help. I only know what I've seen in this stream. That is definitely something we will want to do at some point. It's not ready for that yet. I think when it's playable through the end, even if it's not like, you know, fully polished, I think I will ask some folks to do that. And I'll make a note that you are interested and willing. It's made in World Builder, which is a Mac program. So it does need to run on a Mac, but obviously since it's a very old Mac, it's, you know, you can install an emulator and play it on pretty much any computer. And actually it should even be possible to set up a way to play it in a web browser. But yeah, I think for testing, what I'll do is I'll just, you know, I'll point folks to the stuff they need to get things up and running, and then, you know, you can download mini VMAC for, you know, whatever system you're testing on and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, I have returned. Culinary, thank you for coming by and hope you have a great night. Alright, I'm gonna save our game. We didn't really make any progress once again, but that's okay. We did some things. Some things happened. What was I gonna say? I don't know. I'm surprised it doesn't have any kind of... It doesn't understand help at all. Quit. There we go. We still have 0 points in 15 moves with a rank of beginner. Okay. Yes, this is a shiny new microphone I got for my birthday. Hello, Efton. Good to see you. And hello, someone else came in. J3Z. Good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well. Okay. So we're back here again. And I was thinking we should at least hook some of this up and make these buttons work. And then I was also thinking more about the layout of this screen. And, excuse me. I was trying to find my mute button before I coughed, but... Oh, jeez. Couldn't get to the mute button fast enough. Anyways, what was I saying? Gives me happy flashbacks to making HyperCard stacks long, long ago. Nice. Yeah, this is World Builder, if you're not familiar with it. It was originally made for a game called Enchanted Scepters in 1984. And then it was released by itself for other people to make games with in 86. It was created by William C. Appleton. And definitely... like I haven't read a lot about like the connections between it and HyperCard, but there are definitely some. But yeah, we have these buttons, and I was thinking maybe the credits and help and content warnings should just go in the commands menu, so we just have a very simple screen that just has a start button. Here's another, let's try this real quick. I'm curious if you can have a way to do something by simply pressing enter without typing any input. So let's see if that works. Like, we could potentially have it so, you know, you can just press return to start the game. And this is a thing I've wondered about occasionally, so we're just going to see if we can make anything happen. So I think what I'll do is just have it print empty. Is there anything else we could try? I guess we could try less than is basically a way to say not. So let's try those two and see what happens. Oh, I see. So it's a syntax error. Can we check for a single space? I guess that's not really going to work though, huh? I mean, this would only match if they've typed something with space. This would only match if they typed something that doesn't have a space. But that's not at all what we want to do. The only other way I could think of to check for like a empty line is I guess if we're on like on our start screen, every command you can use on the start screen is going to be handled in this scene code. So we could potentially have a fallback that's just like, if the player has done some command and nothing else in our scene code has handled their action, then it starts the game. So that could work, but I worry a little bit that something unexpected could happen. Let's try this just to see what happens. So if they type help, then we'll print help. Credits. And then if none of that does anything, basically we want to do if loop number sign is greater than 0, because this code will run the first time they come in the room, even if they haven't done a command. But after that, it should only run if they have done a command. French Toast Please says, going to take a break, but I'll be lurking. Nice. Thank you for hanging out, and thank you for lurking as well. So, start. So we'll test this out and see if everything seems to be working the way I expect it to. And we want to move our character, to start at the start. Okay, I guess I didn't handle the buttons. Well, the buttons aren't even buttons yet. But let's see. Help. Oh, that's interesting. So if I just press return, that's not even processed in any way. But if I type something else, then it is handled as a command. So yeah, there's absolutely no way to do something if you press return, because the game doesn't even recognize that at all. That's interesting. Okay. It's not really a big deal. I just thought it might be nice to have a way to, just hit a button on the keyboard and start the game, as opposed to having to click something specific or type in a command. So we can customize this menu, which we'll definitely do on the start menu. I guess for now, we'll leave these buttons. And I'll hook them up to make them work. And if we decide later the screen is too cluttered, then we can change it then. I feel like there's no way I'm going to feel confident about what this screen looks like until we actually have a title. Start credits help. So we'll create 3 buttons. Start button, credits button, help button. I think I'm going to go ahead and create a content warnings button. Just if I ever end up adding one, I will be annoyed that it's not in the same spot in this list. Oops. And then we need to change these all to be on the start screen and immobile. Okay. And then we need some code to make those do anything. So this didn't work out. And then also there's already global code to handle these text commands, so we don't need those to be here. Actually, let's open the global code. I'm pretty sure all I do is just move the player to the appropriate help or credit screen. I just want to make sure there's not anything else that needs to happen. Ooh. Okay. A thing I just thought of is if you're on the start screen and you open the credits, for example, and then go back, you should go back to the start screen, right? Which means we need to assign it a location variable, but we can actually use 0, which is perfect. Okay, so where's help and credits? There. Okay. Yep. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I guess when you undo, it scrolls all the way back to the top. Okay, let's try that again, more carefully. We want click rather than text. Credits button. And since the content warnings button is currently non-existent, I won't bother to add code for that. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change this to be in storage. Storage at or at storage? It's been too long. Storage at, okay. Oh, we also have the start button. I didn't add code for the start button. Just remembered another thing I keep thinking about is there's two things we talked about adding which are a little bit complex. One is a scoring system. Another one is like kind of a keep track of whether you've unlocked all the deaths counter, which could be kind of incorporated, you know, like maybe each death gets you some number of points, or it could be its own like thing that we track separately. But in order to do the deaths in particular, we need to come up with our own system for handling a death. We need a way to reset the world. But the more I think about it, the more I think I would like to do that. And I don't think it'll be too hard. I just made coffee. Is it possible that life is good, actually? I think it is possible. So, start. That works. Credits. That works. Oh, right. We don't have code to go back to the start screen. We will need to add that. And that actually needs to be added in a lot of places, unfortunately. Help. Great. So I have a list. This tiny text here is a list of all the screens that we need to go back from. It might actually be out of date at this point. And I don't think flower pot is correct, actually. That one's different. But they're all grouped together here, at least. Like credits, help, all the little sweetie screens. And then our other object close-ups are in this third row. So that makes it easy to keep track of, at least. So here's that code. And allegedly, when a variable is initially created, it is set to a number that is less than 0. My testing, I'm not sure that's actually true. But I think the way I'm going to do this is just have a fallback at the end here. So if none of this other code does anything, you will go back to the start screen. I'm just thinking if this is a good way to do this. This is generally how I've written this type of code, like handling a variable that hasn't been set yet. I just put it at the end. There's a potential scenario here where like L1 gets set to some unexpected value, and then you go back from, you close the little sweetie, and then suddenly you're at the start screen. But since that variable is set to an unexpected value, like there's a bug in the code somewhere. So maybe it's fine. Currently what would happen is nothing. So it's not really any worse. So yeah, I think this is fine. I'm just gonna copy that one line. And then we need to put that in a lot of places. Make this slightly faster. So another idea I had, just trying to think of things to talk about while I do all this tedious code updating. The conversation with Brisket. Previously, I figured that would just, happen, in the study, in the scene we have already created. You would talk to Brisket. But then I started thinking, this is kind of similar to some other interactions we have, like when you use the little sweetie, for example, you get a close-up of it. And then like that gives us a way to like separate all that code. You get a nice close-up so you can see what you're interacting with. And I was thinking, well, maybe that makes sense with a conversation as well. So I am very strongly considering that when you talk to Brisket, you will get a close-up. And then that's nice because all the code related to the conversation is kept separate. And also, I get an excuse to draw a cat again. This time, a nice close-up of Brisket's face. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I am a little worried it will make like backing out of the conversation a little bit awkward, but since we're doing it in other scenarios, like I don't think it'll be that weird. Sweetie locked. I was just looking up in chat and all the things y'all were trying to do in Zork. Like I feel like Zork is just my test game for the BRB screen. I ideally would like to create my own game that is specifically for my BRB screen. And I feel like based on what people were trying to do in Zork, what I really need to do is create a game that responds to as many weird possible commands as possible. I was also trying to think of what would be your goal in this game I am creating for my BRB screen. And so far, the only idea I've had is that maybe in the game you have to go piss. But there's already a text parser game where you have to go poop, so I feel like that's too similar. I need to come up with something more original. Also, it'll probably be a while before I actually make this BRB game. That is the only text parser I've played with, to be honest. Interesting. How did you find it? I know very little about it other than I recently learned it exists. I've returned it is not chirping anymore. I can't tell whether to feel relieved or scammed. I think that's good. I don't think you want your... Oh, you mean you didn't put the batteries in and it's not chirping? I'm trying to understand what you're saying here. If you put the new batteries in and it stopped chirping, I mean, that seems good, right? That's the expected outcome? It fainted. Oh, no. I mean... Maybe it chirps so much the batteries are just completely dead now, but I would think those things are designed so that they can chirp for a pretty good while before the batteries actually die. A schoolmate told me about it. I think it was like 13 at the time. Okay. Little sweetie emails. I'm just mentally trying to keep track of which screen I'm updating here. I just realized I don't need to update these screens. You can't get to the little sweetie from the start screen. All I needed to update was credits, help, and that's it. I think I'm going to continue doing it though, just because I want this block of code to be consistent. Even if it doesn't matter, I just like, there's only a couple more anyways. Just having it be the exact same block of code everywhere helps me feel a little bit reassured that, you know, nothing weird is ever going to happen. Usually when I update this code, I've just been copying the entire block and pasting it. Must have been 16 because it only came out in 2009. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how old that is. Also, what's the name of that? I am completely blanking on the name. Don't shit your pants. Yes, thank you. A survival horror game. My understanding of it is that you have to be like hyper specific about every little action you're taking. 6-7 says, I remember having to 100% that. Can you win by just removing your pants? That is a great question. The impression I got is that to win, you have to successfully shit in the toilet. Which I guess makes the title a little bit misleading. Each step is manual. Got it. Multiple endings. Nice. In fact, it has more endings than Mass Effect 3. Now I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like... How many endings is Mass Effect 3? I'm trying to be very vague about this. Like, who you're talking to might change the answer you get on how many endings Mass Effect 3 has. It has a lot of variations, but they're, in some people's opinion, perhaps a bit too subtle. We're almost there. Oh, wait. Is that the last one? Are we actually already done? We did it. Congratulations to us. All right, let's go try that now. So, there's start. Guess we didn't really need to test that one again. Credits. We can go back. Help. Back. Good. And then if we start and do credits again, we're taken back to the correct scene. Good. Okay. So we've at least made some progress on a thing. I'm crossing off add title screen on my to-do list and adding finish title screen to my to-do list. Job well done. I feel like that's probably all we're going to do with the title screen for now. Oh, we should customize the menu. That's easy, and we can take care of that real quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this to make sure I'm using the correct code to customize the menu. So it's basically each menu item is separated by a semicolon. If you do slash and then a letter at the end of a command, that gives you a keyboard shortcut. If you use a dash for a menu item, that gives you a nice like separator, like this kind of separator here. So we're going to have start, help, credits, and then content warnings. My thought on content warnings is like we'll at least have that in the commands menu and we'll mention it in the welcome text. So it'll be obvious that that information is available for people that want it, even if we don't have a prominent button for it. I think that's everything we need in this menu. Okay, and then we're gonna need a code to respond to when you select a menu item from the commands menu. It basically just enters that exact text as like it's equivalent, identically the same as typing the same characters. So help and credits are already handled. Start and content warnings are not yet handled. Content warnings is another thing that should probably just go in the global code so you can access it from anywhere. I mean, I don't see any reason not to handle it that way. Hinton responded to, can you win by just removing your pants with? I don't have context for this question, but my instinct in general is yes to this. Okay, so start and content warnings. Start, of course, is only appropriate on this screen, so we're going to add that to the screen I just closed. Or arrow keys don't work equals start. So that should work. Content warnings doesn't really need to be its own screen, I think. It can just be some text that outputs. I think that is a reasonable way to do that. Blaholson said, I think I want to make a text parser sometime, but it would need to be very contained because I would just keep adding every stupid idea I could think of. Yeah, seems like the sort of game where self-control is crucial. Yeah, I agree. It seems very tricky. I'm trying to think. It's interesting. I played a lot of text parser games growing up. Zork was the first one, and then I played a number of other Infocom games. But I don't know that I've ever, aside from World Builder, really tried to create a text parser game myself. And certainly the stuff I did in World Builder as a kid was very, very simple. So this is probably the most I've done with like text parsing of all the little game things I've created. Okay, yeah. Here. Oh, it's not quite what I meant to do, but it's fine. Forgot what was on the clipboard. I definitely need to think about what I want this text to say exactly. Very vague, but we'll just leave it at that for now. I'll definitely be a little more specific. Mostly just because like the email messages in particular are very like attempting to present a real world scenario, which is very different from like a lot of the rest of the game. So I don't want people to be caught off guard by that. And I want to give a little bit of context for what to expect with that if people want that up front. Spinning Mind says, the interactive fiction community forum is quite friendly and has a bunch of people talking about different kinds of parser games. Nice. I have not checked that out, but that sounds very cool. I really need to check out... I feel... I've gotten the impression that people in recent years have, you know, been doing a lot of interesting things with text parser games, but it's been a long time since I've really checked anything out. And I should probably fix that sometime. Also, I just remembered how I recently received a book. I'm trying to remember the exact name of it. 50 Years of Text Games. By Aaron A. Reed. This was a Kickstarter for this book. And I got a very fancy edition that I am going to open on stream at some point. It's a nice hardcover with a slipcase, and then the thing I'm most excited about is that it includes a box of little goodies. There's a floppy disk with the actual text parser game on it, which I know nothing about. So at some point when I do this stream, we'll open up this package, we'll load up the disc, and we'll play the game and see what the heck it is, which should be a fun experience. Like, I don't even know how long it'll be. And then it also comes with a bunch of feelies, different little goodies. And I'm not sure exactly what all those are. I know there's a map. You got a choice of map from, like, I want to say 4 different games. I think I went with A Mind Forever Voyaging. Have you not found anything in the basement recently, by the way? I have. I did not have anything prepared for today, so that was why I disabled that. I was rushing last minute to get the text game set up, so I wasn't fully prepared for anything else. Hinton, thank you for flushing your coins down the toilet. I'm sorry you couldn't use them for something more interesting, but thank you nonetheless. As a reminder, you will not receive anything for this. We need those coins to pay for the plumbing repairs. Thank you. Okay, so once this saves, we can go check that our start screen commands menu works correctly. Ooh. Here's a thing I didn't think of until just now. The weapons menu is going to be available on the start screen. I think that's fine. There's nothing we can do about it. You can disable the weapons menu, but as far as I know, not on a per screen basis. It's like it's disabled for your entire game, or it's there for your entire game. We can, if it seems necessary, like override those commands to tell you, hey, you're on the start screen. You need to start playing before you can use a weapon. Honestly, I think people should be able to break the start screen of any game using weapons. I think that's fair. That is fair. I don't know if we'll add that to our game, but it's reasonable to feel this way. Hooray, we got out of the code. All right, let's see what happens here. So, help. Credits. Content warnings. Okay. And start. Good. And then we should be able to do content warnings here as well. Great. Okay. I'm just looking at my to-do list for other things. I'm not going to go too much longer, but we can get a couple little small things in here. Honestly, most of my to-do list at this point, like I've got a few big things and then a bunch of tiny little things. So yet another Easter egg adventure game reference. I know Efton suggested we add a I'm not putting my lips on that. I want to say Baltimore also requested this. Efton suggested you could add it for Agent Scully. If someone says kiss the skull. And then someone else suggested, or maybe it was Culinary, suggested for doing something with the toilet, like kiss or lick the toilet, which I think is a reasonable response to that. I was thinking about this, and I feel like trying to kiss Agent Scully should maybe give a different response, but I'm not sure what that is yet. In Mac Mix Mac, you can kiss the toilet. That's great. But let's go ahead and add a response for trying to kiss the toilet in our game. Bathroom. I didn't make a note of who suggested this, but someone suggested that we respond to eat, talk, or lick toilet with I'm not putting my lips on that. I don't know about talk, but I guess we'll be a little bit flexible, like eat, lick, kiss all seem like reasonable verbs to give this response. Let's see. I'm wondering if we have any other code in here that's gonna like conflict in any way, because we have a lot of toilet interactions. I think this will be okay. Okay, we'll put this right here. And we'll say text equals eat toilet. I don't know why you would want to eat a toilet, but I guess someone might try it. Lick. Link? Lick. Actually, let's be flexible here. This is, I'm trying to think of how to do this exactly. Like, I'm not putting my lips on that is something the character would be saying, as opposed to, like, the narrator, which the way we've written the game, at least when I'm remembering to be consistent about it, like, the narrator has definitely had, like, a different voice. So I guess this needs to be a quote, and, like, you're thinking it to yourself. That's the only, like, consistent way I can think of to, like, give this response. Okay, should work. I think I did that right. Let's make sure. Plot Holson says, so far Mac only refuses to do things that are hard to animate. Wow. Now I'm thinking about, like, in a typical game, like, what percentage of the content does the average player ever actually see? Let me be more specific. The average player that actually finishes the game. Like, I feel like, especially in a text parser game, there's got to be, like, some huge percentage of responses that, you know, most people would never see. Even if they're goofing around a fair bit. Okay, let's cheat house. Oh, gonna open the door. And then kiss toilet. I'm not putting my lips on that, you think to yourself. And then I want to... Okay. I just wanted to try some other commands with toilet to make sure I didn't goof anything up somehow. This is a little bit of an error. I typed take toilet water before flushing the toilet, and it said you don't have anything to put it in, which is true, but also there's no water there, which is maybe the more relevant thing to say. It's definitely not a huge error, but I think I want to fix it. Just because it potentially gets a little confusing. Like if you try that command, you know, the response makes you think, oh, there is water in the toilet. I just need something to put it in. Hopefully, this isn't difficult to fix. Okay. So, God, this code is a mess. So there's all these different scenarios we check for, but the first thing we check for is if they have the watering can. So okay. So this is the block that I'm dealing with here. Wait, what is this up here? Text equals watering can. Oh. Okay, so you can type fill watering can, or you can type like get water. And then most of this code is duplicated. This is a pain to fix. I might not do it. Basically, things need to be drastically reordered so that this check for the water happens first. Maybe it's not that bad. Honestly, the worst thing about this is every time I copy and paste something, it reformats everything, which makes it so hard to keep track of what's what. Cosmic Void, hello. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Y'all should definitely check out Cosmic Void's games if you have not already. Like, because it reformatted everything, I'm already so lost. Watering can. And then W2. Is that what keeps track of whether the lid is open? I feel like it must be. Wait, what? Oh no. Wait. Okay, it's okay. I freaked out for a second because I'm on this page about, like, it starts with W1, but these are the other variables I have here start with E. For a second, I thought maybe I used W variables for both Wi-Fi and water related stuff, which is true, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. Yeah, I didn't reuse the same variables anywhere. Okay, so W2 keeps track of whether there's water in the can already. Okay. So we have if toilet milk is in the scene. We handle that in the block of code. Otherwise, there's no water in the toilet. If watering can belongs to the player. Otherwise, you don't have anything to put it in. If lid is open. Otherwise, you can't get water while the lid is closed. It maybe makes more sense to have the lid... Like the lack of watering can should only be notable if you have access to water, I think. Like, this is so not at all vital, but I feel like I want to try to get it right. Thank you for the toilet rave, Hinton. Okay, so if there's no water in the toilet. Oh wait, crap. If the lid is closed, if the lid is closed, you don't know whether there's water in the toilet. So that has to come first. The extra annoying thing about this is I know I already reorganized this stuff once. I clearly did not think it all the way through when I was doing that. So the lid close is the first thing. No water in the toilet, and then you don't have anything to put it in, and then the watering can is already full of water. Okay, I think that is all in the order we want it to be now. Now the next question is this block up here supposed to be identical? I think it is. So I think I can just copy and paste. Oh. Okay. This response is actually different. If you say fill watering can, oh, I think this is how I screwed it all up. Like if you say fill watering can and you don't have a watering can, like that should be the first response, right? But if you're referring to the water, the response should be different. Because you know, if you're referring to if you say get water and there's no water, that should be the first, you know, that's like the first obstacle to that action. And I had not really thought about that. Okay, so these are going to be different now, which is, this is so silly. I shouldn't be spending so much time on this, but it's fine. So watering can, if you say fill watering can, first we check if you have the watering can. Then we check if the lid is open. Then we check if there's water in the toilet. So this block is already correct. It was just the other one that didn't quite make sense. All right. Hinton says, please don't talk to me about toilet logic while I'm dog sitting. Okay, I apologize. Cosmic Void says, people playing a game don't know all the code that goes behind even the simplest things, such as toilet logic. Yes. It's definitely like the more time I spend doing this stuff, like you know, I've been making goofy little games for most of my life, but I'm continually amazed by all the new things I discover that I need to think about in something more complex. Oh, I keep missing chat. Silver said, yard nonsense completed. I appreciate you thinking through your toilet logic. I missed so many toilet logic comments. And then Hinton said, putting logic in games was a mistake. I agree. Games should simply respond to your actions at random, honestly. Wait a second. I just opened a new game, right? Why don't we have any... Oh, okay. So when I renamed our player character, that created a bug, which is that we no longer start with our rapier sharp wit, because that's assigned to player. I think you can do player at. I'm going to go ahead and fix this now before I forget. Game ruined. It's fine. There it is. So yeah, previously our player was named lowercase text player. Actually, I don't think it's case sensitive. But with the at sign, I believe that will start with the player character, regardless of what they're named, which is better. Oh, I'm wrong. Interesting. You can do that in code, but not there. Which is confusing because, like, storage at sign works either way. So we'll just make this Cameron. I mean, that's not going to change at this point anyways. Had game saved ready to go, but sadly it appears game still ruined. It's fixed now. Now the game is saved. Again, we can use our weapon commands on the screen. I mean, these responses are fine. Nothing really happens anyway, so I guess I won't worry about that. I do wonder if we want a little separator between start and these other options. That'd be nice. Okay, cheat house. Now let's test our toilet logic. So get water. Can't get the water while the lid is closed. Fill watering can. You don't have it. Get water. There's no water in the toilet. Now it's occurring to me that this response says you can't get the water while the lid is closed. Which suggests that there's water in the toilet, you just can't get to it. Why is toilet logic so complex? This could be fixed by just rewording that slightly. We could just say, you know, the lid is closed, and that's it. That's probably the sensible way to handle that. You could potentially, if you've opened the lid already, you might know whether or not there's water in the toilet. But I think it makes sense to just respond without acknowledging whether there's water there. There's no water in the toilet. Flush water. Don't have anything to put it in. Fill watering can. You don't have it. Okay. So mostly that's good now. Wish me luck. It's time for my start of week team meeting. Good luck, Hinton. I hope it goes well, and I hope you are able to start the week. It would be bad if you couldn't start the week. Also, I will probably be gone by the time you come back. So if you're even hearing this, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm not going to go too much longer. What did I opened the game again, but that's not what I meant to do. Don't tell the team, but I already started the week. Oh my gosh. I support it. Goodbye. So we're going back into the toilet code. And okay. I'm just trying to think of Like, this response kind of assumes you're referring to the toilet, which, if you've typed fill watering can, isn't necessarily the case. And even if you've typed get water, it's not necessarily the case. So I'm just trying to decide what is the best way to respond to this. Like, we could be extremely vague and say you don't see any water here, which is true. I'm having a hard time deciding if that... It's pretty close to Colossal Cave's method, isn't it? Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty typical, like, text game way to respond to something in this type of scenario. Generic response everywhere except when it can be used. Yeah. I'm just trying to think through if this creates any unexpected weirdness. You don't see any water you can access here or something like that. Just to give a little more information, like, we do have a sink here. So that's another, like, that's a more obvious source of water, right? But the sink doesn't work. So the toilet is the only way you can get water. I think it does make the most sense to just be extremely vague and say you don't see any water here. Don't see any water. And now I'm like rethinking this sentence. So if the toilet lid is open and you say get water, it says there's no water in the toilet. So maybe that should actually be you don't see any water as well. That may be too vague. Yeah, I mean, that's my main hesitation in changing it is, you know, I'm basically making this goofy toilet puzzle harder. But I might be okay with it. Everybody's gonna hate my game, aren't they? There's currently no water in the toilet. I mean, there's no water in the toilet is fine, but again, you know, like, you've opened the toilet lid is the only thing that has changed since this response. And the toilet is empty. The description when you open the lid makes it very clear there's no water in it. Maybe the fact that you've opened the toilet lid is a reasonable enough, you know, cue for the game to start responding as though you're trying to get water out of the toilet. I think that's fair. Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Got a lot of art to draw still, including one scene that is going to be very complex and it's just a goofy Easter egg, but that's okay. I mean, 80% of this game is just goofy Easter eggs. So start cheat house. Get water. You don't see any water. Open lid. Water. There's no water in the toilet. Yeah, that works. You don't have it. Cheat. Give me the watering can. Fill watering can. There's no water in the toilet. Okay. I think we're good. Man, someone should clean up this bathroom. It's a mess. I think that's it for today. We did some things. Things were accomplished. So, stream schedule. Guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is Monday? Oh, the Garfield emote. I get it now. Yes, tomorrow is Monday. In some places, it's Monday already, which is unfortunate for those people. So my next stream will be on Tuesday, probably. As I mentioned on Twitter and Mastodon, my brother is currently visiting from Germany. I always do my best to try to get plans out of my brother when he is visiting, just to know, just to have an idea of what I need to work around. But I generally do not get that information. But also, I want to hang out with him and his family whenever I can. So that might mean more unexpected stream rescheduling than usual for the next little bit here. But currently, the plan is that Spooky Tuesday will be on Tuesday. If for some reason it's not on Tuesday, I will probably move it to Wednesday. We have done Spooky Tuesday on Wednesday before, and it worked out okay. So just keep that in mind as a possibility. The game I'm going to start this week is called Swamp Witch, and I'm very excited about it. It's a world builder game made by Jim Thompson, I believe is the name, and it stars his kids. That's kind of all I know about it, actually. It uses a lot of art from other games. Like, he made it for his kids, but then later decided to release it as shareware. So there's a lot of borrowed art in it, just because he wasn't originally planning to release it at all. And it looks very interesting. I'm very excited about it. It's definitely a goofier game. But also, certainly has some aspects of horror. I really don't know exactly what to expect of it, other than the few screenshots I've seen, which are great. But that will be probably Tuesday. And then probably on Friday, we will do more world building. I think the next Friday World Builder stream will be going back to the portrait of our character Cameron. I made pretty good progress on that, but it still needs a little work to finish up. And then we'll also need to make it look as though you're looking in a mirror as opposed to just being a portrait. And also the mirror is going to be cracked, so that'll add an interesting element to that art. And if I manage to finish that, we'll work on something else. Also, Unsecret Crush will be streaming tomorrow. I think Genshin is on the menu. And once she's caught up on Genshin, she's planning to get back to Nier Automata. So yeah, that's all that. And I guess I should find somebody to raid or something. Thank you all for hanging out. It was weird to not stream for 2 weeks. It felt like so long. And everything feels extremely weird and different. I'm just looking at who is streaming right now. And I think we'll go say hey to Culinary Disaster. Plan more Vagrant Story. Don't get a chance to raid over there too often. All right. Thanks again, y'all. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Oh, I missed a couple comments. Androids that need therapy, the game. Puzzle said, thank you very much for the stream, Spacer. Great to have you back, and I'm glad vacation went well to you on Secret. Thank you. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and we'll see you around. Bye.